Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Welcome to a midday magic mobility stretch break with myself, Simon Page, from the Good Life Personal Training Team. Welcome to everyone that's joining us right now. Really great to see you. I myself am looking out on a very wintry picture outside. Hello, hello. Nice to see you all. Awesome. We're gonna give it a minute, as I always say, as everyone says on Instagram Live. We're gonna give it a minute to let a few people join, and then we're gonna happy Monday to you too. Just let a few people join because today we are concentrating on a little bit of relief around the knees, especially the lateral side of our knee, because I appreciate that a lot of people are experiencing some discomfort in that area, and I had a lot of requests about doing a session about this too. So again, just give it one more minute just to let some people in. Hopefully this is really going to help you if you have a lacrosse ball, or if you also have a foam roller, they can also be useful, especially in the session. If not, and you managed to get one after the session, you can always refer back to what we're doing today, because we post every single video up on the Instagram feed for you to come back to later. You can always reference it. We have useful content that we've already posted in the last couple of weeks as well, so you can also refer back to that. So today, as I say, is going to be concentrating on knees, especially the lateral side of our knee. A lot of people have pain on the front. Hopefully this gets rid of some of the discomfort. So without further ado, I'm going to turn off the comments because I get super distracted when people are messaging during the session. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me afterwards. I'll leave my details posted under the video. I'll give a couple of minutes at the end so people can ask questions. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like us to cover in future sessions, then obviously let us know, because we're here to help you. So I'm just going to start off the commenting. So like we do in every session, today's first thing is we're going to use our lacrosse ball as one measure of our feedback loop, something to help us understand what is going on with our body. But as I say, it's all about knees today. So what I need to do is just do a quick check-in, see how they feel. Everyone's been sitting quite a lot recently, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, at your desk a lot, whether you're driving. Sitting in knee flexion for a long time, getting tight hips can often be something that causes that. So we're going to address that. First thing we want to do though is we want to have a look at the tension that could have built up underneath our feet. So we're going to start off with a little bit of a foam, a lacrosse ball roll. If you don't have a lacrosse ball, feel free to use a water bottle or something solid, tennis ball. You can even use a foam roller as well. And again, we're just checking in to see, is our foot feeling okay? Is the tension coming from there? Is the tension around, let's say, our big toe, which often can contribute to knee pain further up the body? Is that an issue right now? And if it's not, or if it is, just spend a little bit longer on it. Just going over the arches, and it's not an aggressive roll. As we will say, you want a 6 or 7 out of 10 in terms of stretch awareness, not discomfort or pain. We don't want to be all red-faced and breathing heavy. So nice deep breaths in. Let's just see where we're at. Again, just spend time, as much time as you need in that area, not aggressively. Let's go on to the other foot. This is our feedback loop, part 1, for this knee-focused episode of Mobility Monday. So a couple of things you can do if you are experiencing discomfort on either foot is you can bring your toes up and down, so flexion extension, to see if that helps to stretch that area. So again, a little bit of tenderness. I myself occasionally have knee issues, but not always the main contributor. But again, it's worth checking whether this is something that's useful to you. So let's just put the ball away for 1 minute. Now, second thing we're going to look at is our actual knees themselves. So are they more painful in extension or whether they're in flexion? So just hold on to something, just check in how they feel right now. Does one side feel more uncomfortable than the other? Do I feel less stable? Does it hurt laterally? How does it feel? Ask yourself that, because that's what we're going to need to refer back to later when we do our mobility. So we're going to start on the floor. find yourself a space, enough space that you can do our core 4 stretches. And our reference for this one is going to be a little bit of a hip and knee box, just to see whether we have good mobility on our hips, which can often contribute to tension further down the chain as well. So a little bit of tightness, a little bit of tension there. So what we're going to do is put our feet shoulder width apart, if not slightly wider. Yeah, and then we're going to start with one leg. Let's start with our right. If you want to start with your left, because obviously I've mirrored to yourselves. And we're going to go slightly less than a 90-90. And I've covered this before, but I'm going to go over it as I always do. And this is always a really great place to start for most of our stretches, from the middle of our body outwards. It really helps to loosen up the top and bottom of our body. So take a nice deep breath in through your nose. We're going to push our hands into the floor. We're going to reach our head up to the ceiling. Imagine there's a piece of string pulling you upwards. And then we're going to come down towards our knee in a wave-like fashion as we bring our chin up our chest. Breathe out, elongating that spine. So you're going to breathe in. You're going to stretch, fall over your knee, wave, bring your chin up your chest, and then bring yourself nice and tall. This can feel really nice if you do it under control. You're going to really start to feel all those areas where you have tension in your body, and you may even start to feel a little bit of relief around your hips as you go through this motion. So we're just going to do 2 more passes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take a walk. We're going to take a walk around to the side. So again, if you've covered this up with me before, you'll find this familiar. If not, this is something new for you. You'll find a little bit of tension start to build up in the hip on your left or your right if you're mirroring me. And take a nice deep breath in. Wave down, stretch across, roll your chin up your chest, nice and tall. And then wave down as you breathe out. Again, with this, don't force the stretch. We don't want to find ourselves in a position where we're breathing really heavy, we're going red-faced, we're forcing the stretch, because that's just going to make you more tense. So nice deep breath in as we add a little bit more of a turn. We're coming around the corner now. And let's just do 3 passes there, okay? I don't feel as much tension. You can spend more time if you need to. So often I get asked, where should I feel the stretch in this position? The honest answer is it depends on where you're caught up and where you have the most tension. This is a really good catch-it-all stretch that can save you time when you're warming up. And obviously you can do it more dynamically if you are in a warm-up phase. You can take a little bit of time if you're just doing your kind of midday stretch like I am. And you can even do it really super slow if you're at that end of day focus stretching session that a lot of people do. So we've gone around the corner. You can work in as many positions as you can around as you like around the clock. But we're actually going to skip to the next bit, which is more relevant to what we're trying to achieve today with the knees. And that's we're going to come down onto our elbow. And this is going to start to work its way onto your hip. If you definitely suffer from any issues with your lateral knee, you're going to feel deep stretch through the side right here as we start to lean our body weight this way. And we try and get separation by, imagine you're pushing your knee this way towards this wall that I have to my left. You'll start to feel a localized stretch right here, okay? So pushing your hips forward and then reaching this hand over and pushing your elbow into the floor, and see if that starts to add a nice deep stretch. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, imagine you're trying to stretch to this other wall, this side. My hips starting to rise up a little bit. And I'm just gonna bring my arm backwards and forwards again, just to see if that helps to unwind some of that lateral tissue that kind of runs down into that hip and then flows down towards the knee through that TFL area, which binds onto this IT band that runs down laterally. So nice deep breath in. And we're just going to turn backwards and forwards. As you come to the front, you might start to notice that spiral line that works its way down the side of the body starts to come into effect as well. And you feel a nice deep stretch, and you may even feel it in your knee. So nice deep breath in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of rotation just coming in front of us with the arm. Stretching back and down. Okay, So working our way back onto that arm again, we're actually going to rotate a little bit this time. So take a break if you need to. You can use a yoga block if this makes it more comfortable. So we're actually going to rotate under and breathe out as we rotate back. Breathe in and breathe out. You may even feel a stretch move across your body down towards the anterior of your body. Lateral stretch, breathe out, rotation. Feels really good on the hip. So again, coming back up onto our hand, we're just going to push into the ground, rock forward and backwards, see where you're at. You can repeat this as many times as you like, and again, don't force the stretch. So coming into our middle position, let's do a check-in. Let's see what our feedback is like on the hips. Feels a little bit better for me. Feels a little bit better, so I can rotate a little bit more, but my other side's still feeling a little bit stiff, so let's do the other side. So again, less than a 90-90. This is my tighter side, so I'm probably, oh sorry, this is my side to side, I should say, so I'm probably going to find it a little bit harder to go fully around the range. Make sure you have enough room away from the wall. I'm probably going to hit it in a second, but that's okay. Pushing this knee into the ground, we're going to reach up, come down, breathe in, stretch, breathe in, reach, 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 breathe out. Excellent. Work your hands around, winding up this tissue, this lateral tissue. Again, we're focusing on trying to release the knees today, helping you out here. If you have any issues that kind of, these niggles from sitting down all day, and this kind of pain that you get from sitting can often be relieved with a little bit of light stretching like this. So again, nice deep stretch up to the ceiling. We make ourselves nice and tall, and we breathe out as we wave down. We bring that chin up our chest and we rock back onto that hip. We're going to breathe in, wave down, and let's just do one more. Again, feel free to spend as much time as you like, and you can always replay this on the Good Life channel as well, so give us a save and comment if you enjoyed the session. So nice deep breath in, breathe out, working our way around. And if you don't quite feel it within the range that I'm working, just keep working your way around, and conversely, if you feel it really kick in this range, come back a little bit, okay? Deep breath in. Work your way around. We'll do one more, just for a bonus. Again, winding this tissue up on the front here. Really reaching as you breathe out. Okay, cool. I'm just going to slide this way a little bit, just so I don't hit the wall. Coming down onto our elbow, as we did on the other side, we're going to push our elbow into the floor. If you need something soft to rest on, like a yoga mat or a yoga block, because this can be a little bit too much pressure for your shoulder, feel free to do that. It's a good adaptation. Or if you're on the carpet. Now, we're going to lift this hip up slightly. We're going to reach our knee towards that back wall, so you probably get a little bit of a stretch in your adductors on the inside of your hip. And then we're going to reach over to add a little bit more of a lateral stretch as we take a nice deep breath in. Breathe out and reach. Feel the stretch. And now we're just going to bring that hand in front, so breathe in. And behind, you may start to feel that stretch spiral down your body as you add that rotation, that spiral line movement. I certainly feel a stretch. It's really good to add this dynamic element. If you're in a warm-up, you go much faster. If you're doing it nice and slow, like a recovery, just take your time. Okay, and reach, reach, reach. Now, I'm going to add that rotation like we did before, just to kind of open up the chest. Normally we run the sequence kind of a little bit differently, but today we're just focusing on the areas that we really want to hit, because we want to make sure that when you do a mobility routine, it's always timely and effective to what you're trying to achieve during your session. You don't want to spend too long doing movements which don't cause a change or benefit your workout. So this time around in that rotation, so we're going to turn our body under, should feel the stretch on the front of the hip, as it spirals up through your body. And we breathe out, reach up as high as you can, over, follow it with your eyes, come back under, turn your body slightly, breathe in, stretch up and over. And let's just do it one more time. And come over. So let's do a check-in. Let's see where we're at. If you need to do any more work, we have a number of sessions that are already posted, or we're doing some more sessions in the coming weeks that will really help you with your hips. So check-in again was our shin box, just to see where we're at. If that feels much better for you, then let's go on to the next step, which is going to be kind of more of a concentrated around the knee. You want to grab your foam roller. I have this trigger point foam roller. Any will do, as long as it's a soft-ish variation. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to lay laterally across the foam roller. Hopefully I don't have a frame here, but we're going to rest our hip on the foam roller. Now, really important when we're doing anything laterally is that you want to stay around the actual tissue and not the tendons and ligaments, because that will be ineffective to what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to cause a slight change of state and assist in a stretch. This is a little bit more advanced, so if you feel any pain or discomfort or anything in your low back, then obviously skip over this one. Now, soft tissue just above the hip bone or around the hip bone is what we're concentrating on. Do the same thing we did just then. Stabilize with your feet, just lean across the foam roller, and then really just start to dig your weight into that hip and see if there's any tension that kind of feeds from what we refer to as that tension fascia latae, that muscle that sits around the hip, and into that glute med as well, that kind of feeds onto the back. And now we can add that rotation again with that arm that we did before when we're on the floor, just to see if that starts to pin and stretch that lateral hip. Excellent. So again, we don't want to be aggressively rolling up and down on this. This isn't the aim of this stretch. This is just to locally pin that tissue, and then just to stretch that tissue again laterally up towards top of our body and stretching the leg away. So again, balance yourself on your hip, resting on top of above the hip bone. You should automatically feel it if this is going to be beneficial for you, because you'll feel it kind of really be tight or compacted, or you feel that tension in the tissue. So turning our body down, balance with both feet, making sure that our body is supported either with your arm or something else like a yoga block if your floor is quite hard. We're now going to let our body sink in, take a breath. 6 or 7 out of 10 is what you're looking for here in terms of pressure. You can also, if you want to take this a step further, add some rotation from the hip by turning your foot. That could be one step that you want to add in. You could even lift the foot that's on the floor, or the same side leg that you're pinning, because that will cause you to stretch from the distal end of the body. So again, rotating backwards and forwards. You can add in a rotation if you want, just like we did in the core floor, and that will help to loosen up a little bit. Awesome. So that is the first couple parts of this movement. You can now do a check-in again. See if that's even improved your shin box a little bit more. Maybe you've gained some range. Maybe it hasn't helped you at all. Maybe it feels no different, and that's okay, because we're now going to concentrate a little bit more on doing some work with the lacrosse ball that's going to work on the anterior and posterior portion of the tension that tends to be built up within the knee. So I would caveat this: if you have anything like a Baker cyst or some current issues which your doctor will give you contraindications for, I would skip over this one. This probably isn't for you. Likewise, if you've had a knee replacement or you feel there's any issues which could interfere with this particular one, we are putting direct pressure around the knee joint, so please just watch for now, and then you can come back to it if you feel that this is going to be relevant to you. So first thing you want to do, grab your lacrosse ball. We're going to grab a chair, or I have a bench, but I'm going to use this chair now because I think it's going to be relevant to you. And we're going to set up. Now, placing the ball about 3 or 4 inches above the knee joint. We're then going to put some downward pressure onto the actual tissue of the muscle itself in the hamstring complex, and we don't want to be on the tendon itself this time, okay? So we don't want to be too close to the joint, we want to be on the belly of the muscle. And we actually want to be slightly more lateral. So if you can imagine that you divide your hamstring up into quarters and you're more on the outside aspect of the hamstring. So downward pressure, take a breath, and then try and extend your leg. You should feel a little bit of pressure there. It can be really, really uncomfortable. So what I would say with this one is 6 or a 7 out of 10. Okay, downward pressure, extend your leg. We're going to rock it back side to side. Just find that sweet spot. We're going to take a deep breath in, ease the pressure off, reapply it, and then extend that leg. See if you get any more range. You can also do a hamstring curl if you have enough clearance off the ground, and then do the same thing. And you may even find that you get a little bit more range. So side to side, extension, flexion, those are all motions that really, really work. Now, move the ball up an inch or two further up the leg. Get a little bit closer to the top of the muscle. Maybe even further into the belly if you have a particularly long leg. And then we're just going to repeat the same thing. So extension, a little bit of internal external rotation, and then you can even do a little bit of flexion as well. So again, just to focus on this hamstring, you could even get the feedback. You start to get a little bit of tension build up in the front, which is great because it actually is giving us the feedback that has hit the mark with us. So let's move on to the other side. Lacrosse ball. Get the angle that works for you on either the bench or the chair. We're going to find a spot which is about 3 or 4 inches away from the actual knee joint itself. So we're on the muscle, not the joint or the tendons or ligaments. And we're going to apply a little bit of downward pressure. And we are just doing a little bit of an extension. Ease into it. If this is the side that feels a lot of tension compared to the other one, make sure you are 6 or a 7 out of 10, not pain, okay? And again, if this is something which you think is contraindicated to yourself through having something like a Baker cyst or a knee replacement, or even a localized trauma or rebuild of the knee, etc., this one you can skip over and come back to. Just watch for now and then to see if it works for you, okay? Or you can do it. So downward pressure, deep breath in, extend away, and then if you have the clearance on the floor, you can even do a little bit of a hamstring curl, pull back towards you, and then extend away, okay? You'll find that the more you do this, the easier it will get. We're not looking for a bright red face and a really heavy breathing. We're looking to kind of help ease that muscle. So in effect, what we're doing is we're actually pinning the muscle down. We're actually stretching it from both sides because we're helping it tease apart, take out some of that tension which can actually be built up. And again, make sure you're on that lateral aspect of the hamstring complex. Cool. So now let's do a check-in. Okay, so we've done our hip warm-up, which can help give us some feedback as to whether our knee issues are being generated from the hip. We've done a little bit of lateral work, trying to loosen up this TFL, which actually pulls on the IT band. We've done a little bit of hamstring work, which for a lot of people will actually feel really good because we sat so much these days in our office buildings, a desk or at home right now as well, that could be an area where tension builds up. Now, last piece, again, this one can be money for a lot of people. When you go into this one, the first thing I want you to do is, just to see if this is going to be helpful, if you have any localized tension around your kneecap, is just give it a little bit of a cross friction. Give it a little bit of cross friction, just to see if that helps your kneecap loosen up. We're not looking to say this will reduce pain, but we're just trying to see if what our kneecap's doing. So have a little check in there, see how that feels. Okay. So we've done our check in, kind of found out how our knees feel. We've done a little bit of cross friction just to see if it's anything to do with the tendons and ligaments of the knee. The last part of this one is going to be focused around, again, that lateral part of our quad, okay? And we're going to put a little bit of direct pressure downwards. So you're going to need to lie on the floor. I'm going to try my best to give you the right angle here, but we're going to put a little bit of direct pressure on the knee. This could be really uncomfortable, so I would say even start a little bit lighter with this one, because you don't want to blow past your 7 out of 10 in terms of stretch awareness, okay? So if I could show you one, just so you can see, again, we're coming about 3 or 4 inches above the knee on the lateral side. We don't want to hit the IT band, but we do want to stay on the quad. So we're going to turn our body slightly. We're going to put a little bit of direct pressure downwards. And with this one, make sure you're supporting your full weight. Again, use something soft, like a yoga block if you need to. And we're just going to see which part feels the most tight around this lateral quad. So we're going to then bend our knees slightly. That can add the stretch in. We can lift our body up if we need to, or we can sink our body down. If you want more weight, you can always add the other leg on top. But for now, I think this is good for me. I think I have a little bit of tension built up there. So I'm just going to bend my knee ever so slightly. Could be a few degrees. This can really build up fast. Okay, now let's move up just a little bit. See if that is another area where we feel that tension. And let's do a check-in. So let's see if that's helped this right leg. And already I feel a little bit more tension has gone from this side of my body. So that's definitely helped me. So let's do the other side and we'll do a check-in. And again, lateral aspects of the quad. Make sure that you're not too close to the knee, a little bit further up, probably about 3 or 4 inches away from the actual knee joint itself. We don't want to be on the knee joint, we just want to stay on the musculature. So I'm going to try my best again to get the right angle. We're going to lean away, putting that weight into the ball. You can always use a foam roller as well, just to add, because that'll capture more surface area. I just like using a lacrosse ball because for myself, it just captures the exact right spot. So just bend that knee slightly. Don't need to bend it all the way. 6 or a 7 out of 10, making sure that you're able to breathe. I'm going to move down a little bit because I don't quite feel in the same place on this side, which is perfectly normal. Excellent. Cool. So let's do a check-in. Let's do a check-in with our knees, see how they feel. Do they feel a little bit better? Do you feel a little bit of tension has gone out of that area? Has the hip stretch that we started with been the most effective thing for you? These are all questions you could ask yourself. Do your feedback loop, check in to see which one is going to benefit you most. So you can include that in your stretch or mobility routine at the start of your workout or at the end or your recovery, or even if you've been sat at your desk for a long time, because this is really going to help you be efficient. You want to make sure that you are just targeting the things which benefit you the most. Okay? So key things for this particular sequence is pick out the things that work best for you. Start with doing your feedback loop, check in with your feet, see if there's any tension there, see if that feeds into your knee. We'll do a little bit more work on this in the coming weeks, but also do a check-in to see if it's more local to your knee. Do you have tension that's built up around the knee? Focus on using your lacrosse ball feet for around the actual musculature, not the actual knee joint itself. So hopefully that's been helpful. We're going to tell in the comments now, running close to time. But as I say, hopefully that's been really, really helpful for you with just a simple sequence of different stretches and mobility with a lacrosse ball can really, really help target that knee when it comes to lateral discomfort. So feedback, we'd love your feedback. We'd also like to hear from you as to what you would like us to cover in these sessions, because after all, we're here to support you. We are your Good Life personal training team. You can reach out to us. And obviously we are assisting with virtual coaching at the moment as well. So feel free to direct message myself and the Good Life team. I will leave this video up for you to enjoy. As per usual, on a Monday you have Carol Reba with her yoga, and you have Ino with the kickboxing tonight as well. So a full lineup for you today. Otherwise, I will see you next week for another Mobility Monday or Mobility Magic. I'm Simon Page. You can find me at Facial Stretch Simon on Instagram. And again, I'll post this video up straight away for you guys so you can feed back to it, or if you need to reference it later. Thanks so much. Have a great day. I will see you the same time, same place next week. See you soon.